This really did. But I like that he called, like. Call, we said, like. Yeah, I don't know, I don't think we can log on for you. Yeah, because the public could be here, so yeah. I'm supposed to. And give them one, but there's only 4 meetings here.
And these are hot all the time.
Hello?
We're on the wrong side of the table.
There used to be one over there.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's just for,
Or was that just projection?
for briefings and stuff like that. I don't think we projected meetings there, did we?
I thought we did.
I thought there was.
I never see around the corner where I'm sitting.
I think you're right.
Everything that was there,
I think you're right.
only bigger over there. Even with my glasses.
All right. When we're in the committee room, they'll be all.
Can people hear us?
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
All right. So Beth, let me know when you're ready to go. Ready, Beth?
you be done?
Somebody's on mute, Hamilton. Where is she? She's in
She's in
Clinton. It
Clinton.
came off mute, so I'm sure they're getting it going. Gosh.
They had some nice probably last time we were there.
They've always had it.
We're on mute too now. I see it. No, Dave has his own,
Oh, okay.
and we have to mute from over on the computer. Gotcha. So we're hot.
Yes.
Can Clinton County say something?
Oh, there's.
The phone.
They're having audio problems. They can't get on.
Last time we were there, that same issue.
Yep. I think it was real simple, right? If I remember, it's something real simple.
The IP came down. It was a setting with an audience.
It's one of those switches on the side there, right next to where.
Testing. So we're getting audio picked up now.
All right, can you guys hear us now?
Oh, it's just-
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us okay?
What should I try?
Testing.
Okay.
So we're getting audio.
All right, can you guys hear us now? Can you hear us now?
See feedback, and I don't think it's from here.
All right, how about that?
Is that better?
Getting better.
Yeah. That's from like, yeah.
Or is it just low volume?
Oh, bye.
We're checking our volume here.
Like really talking to the microphone?
Yeah.
Is this better? Think like.
We're checking our volume here.
Oh, input line?
So this is.
Keep talking.
Keep talking about.
But I was gonna leave here and go to my hearing test it.
Better?
Better.
Better. How can the other groups hear us? In Hamilton and. Can you hear us in Hamilton?
Yes, yep.
Oh, just came on. Wow, that was blast from the future.
Can you hear now?
All right, we got it now?
Got it now.
All right, good enough. Roll.
Ready to roll? Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So roll call, please.
Anna Thayer, present. Josh Kretzer.
Here.
Kevin Randall. Mark Henry. Rebecca Murphy. Carl Weiss. Ken Hughes.
Here.
Meg Wood.
Here.
Mike Tyler.
Here.
Sean Gillen. Mike Diskin. Jim Dugan. Anthony Fernandez. Beth Hunt. Here. Chrissy Will. Here. Claire Arsenal. Jody Smith, Tracy Eldridge, John Kaplan,
Here.
Frank Thomas,
Here.
John Stroud,
Here.
Kevin Garrity, Christine Norton,
Here.
Kevin Hajos, Sue Clary, Charlie Tall, Dave O'Brien,
Here,
Bob Benke, Alan Olet,
One and only.
Deb Donahue.
okay, thank you. Just a little. And if sometimes it's hard to see people, especially in Clinton County, it's hard to see people. So if you have a question or a statement, please raise your hand and just let us know you have a question or a comment. Because it's hard to see people. So just please follow that so we can do it. So next, I need a motion to approve the April 8th, 2025 annual minute meetings. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion, John Stroud.
Motion John Stroud. Do I have a second?
Hi, Tyler.
Ike, second by Ike. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Mr. At your service, President's report.
Good afternoon, everybody. The good news is I will be short and or sweet. The financials for 2025 are actually fairly rosy and going as to plan. We're sitting on about $744,000. 743 of it is in the ICS invested. The team has been very aggressive in keeping as much cash as possible in the investment account, and it's really paying off. Just the operating fund, if I've got it here real quick at a glance. In the first 6 months, I've already made $10,000 in investments, and all of last year it was only 11.9. So they're really staying on top of making the money that we have on hand work for us. And that's just in the operating fund. As you flip through the treasurer's packet, each of the RLFs has their own financial statement. And on the back of each of those statements is their income and expense report. So you'll see the amount from the investments on each one of those as well, because we also invest RLF 5 and RLF 6 monies. So in both of those, you will see the total invested, and towards the back of the packet, you're going to see for the people at the table, you're going to have a report like this at the very back of your packet. This is actually the register for the investment account. You can see how well the team has done at moving money in and only taking it out when needed. And then across the bottom, you'll see all of the interest that the three funds have earned. So again, the team is to be commended in staying on top of the financial picture and making whatever money we have on hand work for us until such time as it's needed for a business to expand or take out a loan. The one thing that's really important to note, the timing of the July meeting is never conducive to giving you a true picture of where we are at June 30th, because Beth and her team are still putting together all of the second quarter claims to all the agencies. So right now, you'll see that the fund equity in the operating fund I have reported has $591,000. What I did is I took a look at what their first quarter billings were and said, hey, if it was around that same level again for the second quarter, what would that look like? And it was an additional 235,000. So to me, a projected financial position of the operating fund right now is closer to 826,000. So, great job. Great job. It's nice giving a positive report because the one I just gave to my board last week wasn't as rosy.
So any questions for Al on the financial statements?
And if you review them and you have questions, you can all contact me at any time.
Okay. I need a motion to accept the treasury report as presented.
I'll move. Meg?
Meg, makes a motion. Do I have a second? A second by John Taflin? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, you were sent the April and May abstracts.
Thank you.
I would like to
Too much paper.
ask for a motion to accept the April and May abstracts as mailed.
Motion Joshua Kretzer.
Josh Cresser, by motion, do I have a second?
I'll say.
Second by John Stroud. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next is the approval of the 2024 audit as mailed. Did you want to say anything about the audit? Al?
Only that, once again, I can't say enough about the audit team. We few years ago, we partnered with EFPR and they have a wonderful business model. We do a bunch of stuff electronically with them. They're based out of Buffalo. And what they allow me to do is they allow me to upload a whole bunch of stuff to an FTP site, a secure site. And they do a bunch of the pre-audit work right out there in Buffalo so that they can keep our costs down, because instead of spending 3 weeks on site reviewing all the records, they only send 2 or 3 people for 4 or 5 days because they've done all the pre-audit work out at their desk in Buffalo. So it's a great business model and it keeps our costs down, and they're an absolute pleasure to work with.
Okay. Any questions on the audit? Beth, anything you want to say about the audit?
No, not specific, I guess, other than if you look, page 5, the net position change is a positive from 73,000 for the agency. So we're rocking and rolling.
Good. Okay, then I will need a motion from the board to adopt the audit for 2024.
I'll move it.
Who moved it?
Hamilton.
Beth?
Beth Hunt.
Beth Hunt, and who seconded?
Second.
Frank? Seconded. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I do concur with Al. EFPR does a great job, and they do it for a number of our agencies, so it's good to have one consistent company doing it, so we all are required to bid it out, so it's good that we have one consistent one that is with us. Okay, salary schedule is in front of you. You have the salary schedule from last year and the new salary schedule proposed for 2026, I'm sorry. Beth, can you give us a synopsis of what we did? Changes made?
Sure. So each position was provided with a 3.5% cost of living raise. There were 2 longevity bonuses hit this year, one by, or for 2026, one by the principal planner and one by the junior planner. But you will notice that the junior planner position has been upgraded to a planner position. I had the intention and would like to promote Sam to planner. He's an invaluable member of this team. It will be his 4th year with us. He's truly earned it. Other than that, you'll notice that I eliminated the admin assistant position. It was a part-time position that we were carrying. That's really, I folded it into the operations coordinator, which we now have a full-time operations coordinator. She's up here with us in Plattsburgh, Kirsten McCain. And so she is, again, full-time, so I've eliminated that part-time admin assistant position. So it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 7 of us. So all fully staffed currently, all of these positions for the first time in a long time.
Good. Kirsten, board, it's nice in a different location, but seen you do your work in the past, and everyone's been has commented on how good you did your job for Mr. Simpson. System, I'm sorry. So any other questions on the salary schedule? I need-
Seems to be missing that treasurer's salary.
you had a chance- you had a chance
Your
to-
time zero is zero.
Make us feel good being listed, wouldn't it at all? Okay, did I motion?
Motion Ken Hughes.
Ken Hughes,
Second, Ike Tyler.
second by Tyler, Tyler. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is 2026 budget and county allocation requests. This will be board action.
Yep, so you guys have the draft 2026 budget in front of you. No big changes from 2025, just a couple of highlights. You'll notice that the fringe has gone down significantly from 2025 to 2026. I had been budgeting around 40% fringe. We are nowhere near hitting that. We're actually hitting more in the high 20%. So I feared it was an unnecessary over budget in fringe. So I backed that down to 35%. So that's why there's a change there. You'll notice that the strategic plan is coming out that will be completed this year, so it doesn't need to be budgeted for next year. I did add under contracts, or I did up the loan officer contract. So if you remember, I eliminated the business coordinator position. It was supposed to run the loan fund. It was just too hard of a position to keep. I recently struck a deal with the Development Authority of the North Country to contract with them to utilize their full-time loan officer to underwrite our loans for us. So it is an hourly, as needed contract. We have about $2 million to lend, so I just upped that from 25 to 50 in anticipation of really having Matt ramp up our loan underwriting. And I did put in an admin assistant at $10,000 in case there is additional financial assistance that we need. I don't anticipate it, but I just wanted it in there in case. And so then you have all of our projects, new ones on the top, ongoing in the middle, ones that are closing out in the bottom. And that brings us to a $1.97 million budget with an increase for AGFTC and their projected budget, bringing us to a total of $2.77 million. And now the revenue side. The allocations for 2026 is the first year of the 4-year county allocation increase plan that the board adopted last year. So you'll see the increases in there for each of the counties. So that is what we'll be requesting from the counties. The EDA planning grant, I was just recently made aware that it is available. They've asked us to apply. We can retroact that, which is great. That being said, EDA is on the chopping block to be eliminated by the federal government, but we're going to keep moving forward as if we're going to get the 70,000. We will get the 70,000 and we will pivot if need be. We were also made aware that we will get, again, year 3 of the New York State DEC contract. That's federal money that comes to the state, that comes to us for our water quality program. Just found out recently, a few weeks ago, that year 3 is available. The state has the money and the contract will come to us. So we don't get a dollar amount from the state until July, usually end of July, early August on what that'll be. We haven't gotten it yet. So I just budgeted it as $100,000. The more exciting news is the LDDs within the NBRC region are now receiving technical assistance funding. So that's staff funding to do the work that we were really already doing and they weren't paying us to do. So we have a $137,000 contract between 6/1/25 and 9/30/26. So that's a new budgeted line item. Everything else is what we usually do. The fund balance, that $50,000 was for the strategic plan. So again, that comes out because that will be over. We have a lot of new contracts. We won a big grant I'll talk about in a little bit. And a couple other grants. So again, our new contracts are on top, ongoing in the middle, ones that are closing out are on the bottom, not part of the budget. And so that brings us to our 2.77 million.
Okay, and that, I know that technical assistance money from NBRC, best been campaigning for it for years and finally came through. Any questions for Beth? On the budget? Any other comments on the budget? I will need a motion to approve the proposed budget for 2026. Motion by John Taflin. Do I have a second?
I'll do it, Meg.
Second by Meg. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Looks good. Looks a lot stronger than we started 7 years ago. Adoption of the Adirondack Gateway Safety Action Plan and North Country Safety Action Plan, Board Action. So you want to talk about it, or who wants to talk about it? Beth, you want to explain it?
Yeah, I'll punch it over to Allison since this was her project. So some of you may have seen it at your county boards. It's a Vision Zero commitment resolution, just to, we as a board are making a commitment to do everything we can possible to ensure that there are zero traffic fatalities in our region. And so originally we didn't think it was kind of necessary for our board to adopt this because we don't make policy decisions, but it does strengthen those safety action plans that were created for our region if we, as the grant holder, adopt the resolution as well. Again, this is something that's necessary in order for those safety action plans to be accepted by the federal government, and also for any future SS4A funding the region has to have one. So we ask that we review and adopt this resolution. It doesn't commit us to anything.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, I need a motion to adopt this. And it's been a lot of work and it's been going on for years, and I hope they didn't get paid by the word. Need a motion to adopt?
Moved by Tyler,
Moved by Tyler,
second Joshua Kretzer.
second by Josh. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I want to touch one piece of business was, I didn't want to talk about the next meeting date. We have a conflict with the October meeting, and we're going to move that to October 7th at 1 p.m. So I just want to make people advise it, and please advise your board or your county clerk so they can put it on your schedule so we don't get too many conflicts. We think we're clear, but we'll see. Okay. On that note, and our next is our strategic plan update, correct?
Yeah, I've got a slide. Okay. So our consultants, Lauren and Meredith, were here in late June. They hosted 6 focus groups with some of our ex officio members. They talked to some supervisors not on our board. We also had an economic development, community development, local government, and funder state and federal agencies focus groups. So those all went really well, and they were really happy with the content they got out of those conversations. So they also got a survey. So we got 65 responses. I put up some of the things. One of the questions was, what is the regional planning board doing really well? So you guys can see the PowerPoint screen. Yep. Yeah. All right. These were some of the comments that were put into that, which as regional planning board staff were really nice to hear. There was also a question that asked what things could we be doing, and there's some good ideas in there. And so we'll dive a lot deeper into that part of it at the board retreat, which brings me to the August 6th board retreat. It is at the lodge at Shroom Lake. It will be from 9 to 3. I did send a calendar invite. I've only had 6 people RSVP. I need everybody to RSVP by July 21st because we have to give a head count for food to the hotel on that date. So I need to know, I don't want to end up paying for 40 people and only 20 show up. So if you could please RSVP either to the calendar invite or just shoot me an email and say, yes, I'm coming, no, I can't. So that we can plan, that'd be great. Have a night. Excellent. I will add you to the list. I now have 7 people RSVP. And so the purpose of this board retreat is really to dive into the relationship between the board and the regional planning board, roles and responsibilities for both the board and the staff, and maybe develop some mechanisms for better communication, facilitation of communication between the board and the regional planning board staff. And honestly, anything's on the table. So ideas for future things, what are we doing well? What does maybe have to come off of our plate? As the board, you do set the strategic direction for the agency. So it's going to be a lot of conversations about that. We will have some light nosh in the morning and you will be fed lunch. So, and coffee all day. So please RSVP, please come. We really want as much participation on that day as possible as board members. Your opinions are important and they're valued, especially by the staff. So that is the strategic plan update.
So can I step in for a second, Beth?
Sure.
I would really encourage you to talk to the members in your counties and encourage them to come. I think it's a very valuable experience. There has been some good interaction. The other part that I'd like to have you encourage is I think the ex officio members would be very important to have them come also. So I'd encourage them to come. And ask you to help encourage them to come. I think there's a lot of strategic planning we can help with. And I think that I think that getting the ex officio members who are chairs of the board, the treasurer, chairs of the board, treasurers, and highway superintendent can be very valuable in helping guide the organization and the needs of their counties. And I would really encourage your ex officios to attend. I think it's very important. I know there's a couple of conflicts because of vacations and other plans, but I really think it's important. So enough said.
And Dave touched on where I was gonna go. I think that's a high importance that the ex officios understand how important this retreat is for them too. Because it's very easy for an ex officio to disengage and say they don't need me because I can't vote. But I think this is an opportunity to remind the ex officios how important their role actually is to the agency, whether you can vote or not. So thank you, Dave.
And I think one of the important parts is what would the ex officios input on what would help them be more engaged. Quite frankly, they're the leaders of the county and they are guiding the way forward. And while we can have every confidence in our appointed members, I really think it's important for the ex officios to be there, especially the chairs and the treasurers in the highway department. There are very unique things we can do. Their input's very important to us in terms of those. And, sometimes I don't think that there's enough engagement between what's happened at the meetings or what happened in the ex officios and our members trying to relate the information. Okay, enough said. Thanks, Beth. Next. We lose someone?
Yeah, so next is our EPA Brownfield Assessment Coalition grant. So we threw a Hail Mary and we nailed it. We have been awarded a $1.155 million grant from the EPA to develop inventories of brownfield sites, prioritize the sites, do community involvement, do site assessments, site-specific cleanup plans, and reuse plans. As part of the application, we had to identify priority sites. We have 4 in the towns of Champlain, Plattsburgh, Essex, and Lake Pleasant, but we do have the ability to identify 15 additional sites to do this work in. So we are just working through the work plan with EPA right now. So we haven't got this up and running yet, but there will be extensive community outreach to identify additional sites to do this work on. Phase 1, phase 2 environmentals, all of that assessment, front end assessment stuff. But I do want to note that a brownfield site, and I know that that makes things sound very dirty, but brownfields, as defined by the federal government, is the presence or the potential presence. It can be blight, it can be underutilized, it can be degraded. It doesn't necessarily have to mean contaminated. So as we're working through this, I just want everyone to keep that in mind because we will be outreaching at some point to help identify additional sites to do this work on throughout 5 counties. And next, just to touch on another project we're doing. Oh, I didn't spell slightly right.
Savoir.
So hard. It's French, everybody. It's French. We got a grant from MBRC to do cell availability testing and site engineering within our 5 counties. We hired GTA. We hired GTA as a company to do it for us. So the map that you're looking at right now are the drive routes that are happening. Right now, they are behind schedule. You'll appreciate this. They had issues with connectivity. So they're now 2 weeks behind. And it happened in Essex County, by the way.
Of course.
So they're about 2 weeks behind schedule. They were supposed to be done by now, but it's okay. So they're driving around 8,000 miles throughout the 5 counties. And this is what we're going to end up with. So they're done with Washington. That's where they started. So this is the signal quality distribution. So black is the black dot of death, and there is no connectivity going up to green. So for the major carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, Boost actually boost off of those in our region, but we did parse those out as well. So we'll end up with maps like this for signal quality and distribution. It's called RSRP. We'll be able to zoom in so we can see specific areas. This is the network. So where there's 4G, where there's 5G availabilities, we'll have that for each of the counties. This is, Sam, can you move that from top so I can see what the titles are? Oh, this is no service. So for each of the major carriers, it indicates where there's no service at all. And then what we're going to do is identify the black circles are where there's no service for all 4 carriers, meaning there's just like absolutely no cell service, no matter what carrier you have. And so within Washington, there's 4 spots. The red is where there's only 3 carriers. So you'll see, again, Boost has some availability because it does ping off of other networks. So we'll have that for each one of the counties. We will have it'll give us a little breakdown and some narrative on the various carriers and how they are within those areas that don't have service. We'll have call drops for each of the counties. So there was an active call and it dropped. We'll also have call fails. So there's a difference between a drop and a fail. And we'll have data drops and data fails as well. So these are maps of data failing. So, AT&T, only 5.5% of the sessions failed to initiate. And so we'll have that information for each of the counties as well. Among other things, we have download and upload data too. There's lots of other maps I didn't grab to show you guys, but it's a cool project. And again, we're moving forward with it. It should be wrapped up by the end of the month.
Hey Beth, can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
Since a lot of our residents now, attach the internet through their cell phones, is there an opportunity for us to leverage some of that broadband money on some of that cell project in Washington County?
No, and I will, well, what broadband money are you talking about? The county's broadband money or the federal BEAD money?
Our ARPA money.
Oh, your ARPA money, you can do whatever you want. The federal BEAD money, though, the purpose of that money is to get fiber to homes.
Is it a stretch though to say that increased cell service is increased broadband service?
No, and you need broadband, you need a fiber backbone to have cell service. So every cell tower has a fiber backbone to it.
Let's talk about that at some point, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Hotspots. They can use as hotspots.
I don't think it's a stretch to.
I don't either. Okay, any other questions from Beth? If not,
Oh, sorry, can I note too? I forgot. I asked our consultants if they would set up a Zoom meeting with county, whether you want it to be your hazard mitigation people or whoever in the county to go through the data for each county. They said they would absolutely do that. And we can share the data with all of the counties, so you'll have all data files for your county.
anything else, Beth?
Nope.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all your efforts. I guess it's time for Allison.
Hello. So I'm just going to go over some highlights from the planning team. There is a more.
You just get the loan committee report from Christie. Sorry. Christie, you're muted.
Well, the slide for principal plan.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were skipping me. I really don't have a long report. We haven't had a meeting since the last board meeting. The next committee meeting will meet on Friday to review a loan application for Four Corners LLC and Speculator in Hamilton County. That's all I have.
Okay. Threw me a curveball with the principal planner screen up there. So now it's time for Allison.
Now you gotta get PowerPoint.
Okay, back up. So I'll give you some highlights of what we've been doing over the planning team. A full report is in your packet. All right, so big achievements this quarter. We've completed the Town of Johnsburg Comprehensive Plan update. It was adopted back in May. The results of that planning process were 13 goals, 87 strategies, and 100 recommendations, all identified by the community and based on their vision for the future of their town. Hopefully this plan will be used to roll into a zoning update and some other community based projects. We have also, as you know, finalized our safety action plans. There's one for the North Country and then one for the Adirondack Gateway area, which is Warren and Washington counties, and the North Country's remainder of our counties. Those are finalized in June, and the main purpose of this planning process was to identify priority issues and key intersections. That's not right. Analyze traffic patterns and accidents, and make broad systemic recommendations for overall safety improvements across the region's roadways. This was also used to roll into a grant that Jessica and Sam put together, that Jessica will talk to you later, for the city of Plattsburgh to analyze some priority intersections throughout the state. So having one of these plans made our region eligible for additional federal safety monies. And they're available on our website if anyone would like to take a look. So this summer, we'll be doing a lot of community planning and outreach. We're currently working on comprehensive plans in Village of Speculator, the town and Village of Argyle, the town of Horkin, the town of Chester, the town of Willsboro, and the town of Salem. We're also working on a Grant Lake watershed management plan, which also is located in the town of Oregon. So we'll be out at farmers markets and community workshops, talking to the public and getting input for those plans. And working hard on grant applications, and we just found out Sam has received his first grant award for the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute for some education and outreach for stormwater management in our region. Yeah, congratulations, Sam. We have submitted 3 of the municipal parks and recreation grants. That was some funding through the Bond Act that was released earlier this year. Just about $1 million ask for the town of Lake Pleasant, the town of the village of Speculator, and the village of Granville, all for some recreational amenities. Yes, Ike?
Yeah, what's the park and rec, what does that go? What do you get out of it? Just like, you put money into the park, or just analyze it?
That was, the majority of those projects under that funding needed to be construction. There was about 20% of your grant requests could have been planning, but it needed to be focused on.
So you guys have planning before you.
Yeah, at least some. Yeah, so you could do like final design with this money, but you needed to have kind of some idea of what you're doing. Yeah, we anticipate another round of this, and it's a 90% state funded project. So it's really great if you have some recreational needs in your community. Keep an eye on that. We're working on CFA's kind of a good distribution across our 5 counties for various projects from comprehensive planning, recreation, water quality, amenities. We're excited about that. Those are due at the end of the month, so we'll be busy with those at the moment. And finally, a lot of people have been reaching out about pro-housing communities. I know a handful of you all have achieved that certification, but if you are interested, we are on hand to assist with that. It's a simple process, but it is multi-step. So first you submit a letter of intent. Your municipal board passes a resolution. There's a review of your building permits from the last handful of years. And if you have zoning, there's a zoning review and zoning map that needs to be submitted. And for those last 3 items, we can certainly help. And we have templates for the letter of intent and municipal board resolution. So please reach out to me if you need that, and we can provide assistance. It is prioritized for a lot of state grants right now, required for a lot of state grants right now. So I think we'll be seeing this program continue. All right, well, before we move on, does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
Oops. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Economic Development Coordinator.
All right, I thought I would touch on grant management during this meeting. So currently we have 16 active grants that we're managing that sort of span the full spectrum of funding agencies: NBRC, ESD, EDA, USDA, Department of State, and DEC. We have 5 new grants starting soon, which include NBRC, DEC, and, as Beth mentioned earlier, US EPA. And the project types include traditional infrastructure, workforce development, theater renovation, trail upgrades, and planning and brownfields assessment. So for NBRC, we are an LDD, which is a group of regional organizations. It's a local development district, and we assist NBRC in its outreach activities and administer the NBRC investments for grantees. So typically it's an already existing federally designated economic development district as certified by the US EDA. And typically LDDs are knowledgeable about other federal and state programs that help fund economic and community development projects. They are the boots on the ground that are more aware of the local concerns, since they typically engage in regional economic development planning. and they provide feedback to the commission on its current programs, as well as assist in identifying future areas of focus for the NBRC. So our role as an LDD is to assist the grant awardees with all aspects of grant administration. So helping them with all the documents required to get to a notice to proceed, quarterly and annual reporting, reimbursement requests, final closeout reporting and contract amendments, and more recently, helping navigate the horrible grant management system portal online. We can also provide feedback to grant applicants if requested, so that's before they get awarded it when they're applying. And to maintain our knowledge of the system, we're required to attend quarterly trainings with NBRC to make sure we're up to date on everything to help grant awardees. And currently we have LDD contracts with 14 communities across our region for a variety of projects.
Good. Any questions for Jessica? Okay. And now we get to talk or hear from Beth. Beth, take it away, please.
Okay. So full report is in your packet, or just a couple of highlights. State and federal outreach. I was asked to speak at the Rockefeller Institute of Local Government on housing issues within the North Country. So that was a neat experience to go down there. I also presented at the Adirondack Association of Towns and Villages on grant kind of tips and tricks going into CFA season. Sam, Allison, and I were down at Adirondack Day in Albany. Again, we were asked to head up, they call it captain. We're asked to captain the housing section for Adirondack Day. So we came up with another awesome game, and I don't know how we're gonna outdo ourselves next year. So we just keep making them better. It's the game of life, the game of housing in the Adirondacks. And we also a couple weeks ago hosted the Adirondack Community Foundation Board at our office to talk about the work that we're doing throughout the region and how we can better partner with our philanthropic community within the region to help achieve things in economic development and housing and small business support. So Allison sat in on that with me. We gave a presentation, and I think it was really well received, and they seemed really impressed with the work that we're doing. I think we came up with some new ideas on how to coordinate and cooperate. Applications that I put in, so the congressionally directed spending applications were due. I put one in for $750,000 for workforce housing site feasibility. That was picked up by both Schumer and Gillibrand's offices and moved forward. There are actually new rules this year. The House has always had a maximum amount of applications that they were allowed to move forward, but the Senate hasn't, and this year the Senate did. They were given a maximum amount for each program that they could pick. So they picked ours and moved it up through. We helped Washington County apply for one of the county infrastructure grants through ESD for $500,000 for the Village of Whitehall for their wastewater. So that was awarded. NBRC awards, we authored a grant for the city of Plattsburgh to do a wastewater feasibility study on Ruger Street. So that was awarded. We also applied for funding to do workforce housing build out analysis and pre-development in 4 communities within Essex County, and that was awarded. And we were also awarded, I think it was $196,200,000 Lake Champlain Basin Program grant to do a plan the economic value of clean water in the Lake Champlain Basin. So we actually are partnering with the regional planning commissions in Vermont to do that, and we'll be creating outreach materials in both English and French because it's for the whole watershed. So it's New York, Vermont, and Quebec. So this is the first time that we've done a project that is not just New York Champlain focused. So we're really excited to lead that up. In other news, I interviewed and hired an operations coordinator. Yay. We have an RFP out right now for on-call marketing services. One of the comments in talking with the strategic planning consultants that came out of the focus group was people's want and need to hear from us more. So I think that we're going to kind of ramp up into a more professional marketing strategy, than we have had in the past. So we've got an RFP out right now. It's due in a couple of weeks. We'll see what comes in and go from there. I mentioned that we contracted with Dink, the loan underwriting services. I did close 2 loans, and underwrote a loan that's going to committee on Friday. Update on federal funding. I think I touched on most of these in the budget, but as of right now, we have been invited to apply for the next 3 years of our EDA First Planning Grant, $70,000 a year for 3 years. We have been paid by USDA, Federal Highway. We do have one more reimbursement request to put in, and NDRC is still paying their bills. So there was some conversation at the last board meeting about the concerns of federal agencies paying outstanding bills, but those have all been paid up. And I mentioned the technical assistance grant with NDRC through 2026. That's it for me.
Well, thank you very much. Any other questions for Beth? Anything that you'd like to talk about with Beth? Sure. Well, thank you for everything you've done, Beth, and we appreciate it. And so just a question, what's your forecast for the future of some of the programs? I think you said we're all set for 2026, but there is questions about 2027.
Sure. So many folks, other EDDs across the country are very concerned about the elimination of the EDA. That being said, the EDA has been zeroed out in the skinny budgets multiple times before, and it hasn't happened. The EDA was just reauthorized for the first time in 20 years at the end of last year with bipartisan support. That being said, I think that we will see some rearrangement of how program money comes to us. What that means for us in terms of our technical assistance funding, we're good for 2026. I mean, we pivoted months ago, knowing that things were going to change on the federal landscape. We pivoted to relying more on state grants because those are still flowing at this point. If that's what we need to lean into for the next few years, that's what we'll do. There is a reason that we are becoming more active with our philanthropic community because, again, that's sustainable funding, not reliant upon federal funding. The plan that we put together to ask the counties for more money, we'd actually done before any of this happened to the federal government, but the timing just worked out really well. We are also leaning into contracting specifically with some towns and counties for very finite projects, again, to keep us working, to keep us employed while we kind of navigate what's happening. I don't foresee a total shut off of the federal funding valve. I see it being cut, and I see it probably coming to us differently, but that's something we're going to have to navigate as it's rolled out in the new administration. It just makes more work for us, to be honest. We have to relearn programs, right, and relearn the way things come, but we've done it before.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Beth or?
Beth, and I would want to point out too, that if you look at the first 6 months of the ICS account, I think the total interest was around 51,000. That's money that wasn't there before. So if you were to double that up, because we're only through June, the ICS interest in theory could, in air quotes, replace the EDA money should that money dry up. So there are ways to rearrange the funds to keep it sustainable and not relying on it.
Yeah, and I will note too, I didn't put any of that ICS income into the budget.
Appreciate that.
So it's there, but we haven't used it to budget.
Well done, Grasshopper.
All right, anything else?
I would just like to note, we have our annual Ford Together conference on October 1st at the Lodge at Screen Lake. So we're visiting that beautiful location again. We'll send out reminders again, but registration is open. Please join us.
Okay. Just a last reminder is that attendance at the board retreat on August 5th, or due responses due by July 21st. So you can make reservations, just want to reinforce that. So thank you, and I guess we are adjourned. Thank you very much for attending.
RDC members don't leave.
You beat me to it, Al. Dave, Al, Beth, Ned, Shannon, and John Strauss, Dave. 5 more minutes of your time.
I'm gonna take that. Here's the RDC stuff.